Hi Jayden, welcome to NEXWEB podcast.
Hey, Srishti, it's a pleasure.
Jayden, I met you in Lumbini, Nepal during my own Vipassana meditation period. At first, I didn't notice you, but on the 10th day, I found that you were serving as a volunteer in Vipassana meditation, and I loved the services provided by the
Mm.
volunteers during the Vipassana meditation journey. Jayden, how did you came up with the idea to go to Nepal and serve as a volunteer in Vipassana meditation Dhamma?
Yeah, Srishti. So the journey to Nepal was an interesting one. I'm half Nepali, and I had never been. So the idea to go to Nepal was to go to Nepal and to reconnect with my roots and to meet my brother for the first time. So it was a really special moment. And being a Vipassana meditator, I definitely wanted to immerse myself in the birthplace of the Buddha. And um, yeah, actually, how I got the idea to go to Lumbini was I was playing a Nepali card game with my brother and his friends, and um, there was a service opportunity in Lumbini which I was unsure about. And I remember playing this card game, and I put down the Lumbini note in rupees, right, with the 100 rupee green note. I just looked at the note and I thought, I need to go to Lumbini and serve. So that night, I booked a bus ticket to Lumbini, and 12 and a half hours later, which is not for the faint-hearted in Nepal, the buses, I I arrived in Lumbini. And yeah, it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. It was a truly incredible time in Lumbini. Um, the teachers at the course were truly conducting the course in a very beautiful and very loving way. So I'm very grateful to have been there and been a part of that special moment.
Wow, like I am so lucky. I got an opportunity to meet you in Lumbini, Nepal, and it was a random plan. You didn't plan it. I have heard that you can't be a volunteer if you don't do the Vipassana meditation before. Like, have you done Vipassana meditation before? And how many times have you done? And where have you done?
Yeah, yeah, seriously. So that's true. So you have to. So Vipassana is run by volunteers, like people that have done the courses before, and so in that way the environment is surrounded by people that have experienced the magic and what Vipassana gives you. And I've done I think 3 Vipassanas now, and I've served about 5. So I did my first one in Dhamma Rasmi about a year and a half ago. Um, and I found Vipassana. I was actually traveling in Tasmania, and I read a little bit about Vipassana in like Buddhist texts and like Buddhist books that were mentioning the practice of Vipassana. And I met this girl traveling, and she had no meditation experience, and she said that she was doing Vipassana. And I originally thought like, oh, she's not ready, like it's so intense, like, oh, it's very difficult, like, and she has no experience. And I thought that you had to be an experienced meditator, that you had to have some sort of meditation experience to be able to do Vipassana. But I was so wrong, right? I was so wrong. You don't need experience. Um and I thought that because I had a little bit of experience in meditation, that I was or going to be in front of people in Vipassana, or that I was already further along the road. But I couldn't have been more wrong, Srishti. The new students and people that go to Vipassana with no meditation experience are those who gain the most benefit, because they go in with a beginner's mind. They go in with a learning mind, so they really can get the most benefit out of it. And and then my second Vipassana was in the Blue Mountains, and so I lived in the Blue Mountains for about 2 months, sitting and serving in the Blue Mountains, which was a really incredible experience. I remember going there in the Blue Mountains, and I was going through a lot of turmoil. I had a few really big knee injuries in football, so I kind of lost a whole part of my identity in my life, because I was so involved in football and so involved in sport, and so having the injuries and losing that connection with that community, and that to myself, I was lost. And so I just took a risk and went to the Vipassana center to try and heal myself. Like, I actually went there for the wrong reasons. I was practicing a Joe Dispenza meditation, and I was trying to heal my knees through my like a Joe Dispenza, and I thought that if I go to this meditation center, I can just use this space to try and heal myself, because I was that desperate, right? But when I got there and I was fully immersed in this amazing environment with incredible people, I really fell in love with Vipassana. And I didn't heal my knees, unfortunately. They still probably need an operation, but I healed so much, like, internally. Like, it taught me to live with my pain, to live with my injuries, to live with myself, and to just accept the fact that this is the reality. And I think that was a really beautiful time in my life. Mm.
Like three, like what are those, like you told, like you have experienced five
Yeah, yes,
solving and three Vipassana
yes.
meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the third one was in Nepal. So it was the first one, which was in July last year. The second one I sat was in uh, October last year, and then I
Okay.
served two courses, and then I sat in May, the 1st of May, this year in Nepal for my third sitting, and then served in Lumbini and served in Kathmandu again. And
Wow.
yeah, it's been a very intense year of Vipassana, but I really feel as though the last year, I look back on myself, 2 years ago, even a year ago before I started Vipassana, and I've changed so much as a person, for the better. And um, I don't think people often give themselves enough credit for when they actually do change for the better to express their change. I think so often, like, um, when I've changed for the better, I've suppressed it because I've been scared of, like, telling my friends and family, like, look, I'm changing for the better. I've made a positive change, but you're scared of letting go of that old self that everyone knows. Like, everyone knows this old person, right? And Vipassana brings so much change. It's 10 days of intense meditation. It's no joke. It's serious. It's intense, but it brings results now, right? Like, it's not like if you practice for 10 days, when you die, you'll go to heaven and you'll get these amazing results. It's like if you practice for 10 days now properly, you will get results right here and now. And for me, I just love that practicality, and it works, right? And I feel like it's really really benefited me. So um,
Jayden,
mm,
like you have mentioned that you have gone to different Vipassana meditation because of the different region. I think now you are used to of the Vipassana meditation technique, and
mm,
you might take it easy because you know the process. It might be hard sometimes, but you
mm,
know the process, right? But when you went to Vipassana meditation for the first time, which day was the hardest for the 10 days silence
yeah,
meditation and why?
yeah. Um, just so it actually gets harder, Shristi, because not harder, but because you know what you're getting yourself into, right? The more you do it, you know what you're getting yourself into. So it's like it's a different type of challenge. But I remember the first time when I went, I literally just tore ligament in my knee, right? So a week before I was doing my first Vipassana, I was kind of having some turmoil, some problems with my ex-girlfriend, and I literally tore the ligament in my knee. So I couldn't even walk a week before Vipassana, and I didn't even know if I was going to go. So I was emotionally all over the place. I couldn't even sit cross-legged. Um, and I remember just making a decision like, okay, I'm just going to go and give it a crack, and if I fail, I fail. It's okay. Um, but I remember on the second day, um, I was in so much pain, right? And I remember walking out of the Dharma hall and going back to my room, and it was I reached a crossroad, right? It was either I told myself I can leave now, or I can give this 110% effort and leave no stone unturned, and whatever comes I'll face with just pure courage, and just try and don't give up. And I chose the latter, and and there was so much pain. But that second day, I think there comes to a point where you get to so much pain that you can either go, I'm going to face this, or I'm going to run away. And when you choose to overcome that fear, there's magic on the other side. And if I chose to leave on that second day, I don't think I would be speaking to you right here, Srishti. I went to Nepal. I don't think I would be as happy as I am. So
Have you cried during the Vipassana meditation period? Because while I was experiencing the Vipassana meditation, like personally me, like till 5 day, I was okay. I was like trying to balance my body to sit properly and meditate properly. But on the 6th day, I was literally crying. And
mm,
when I see my circle, like most of the people were crying, and I was like, oh no, I'm not alone. And everyone was like, whoever was not crying, like they went to the teacher and they said that these people are crying, like do something. And they were like, let them cry, like did you have such experience?
yeah. It's yeah. So on the last Vipassana in Nepal, Srishti, like obviously being Nepali and going back for the first time, there was a lot emotionally going on, like being back in essentially my homeland. And I remember before the course, I was thinking, this is going to break me open. It's going to break me open. There's going to be tears, and I'm just going to be healed. And the tears didn't come, and there was so much going on, so much emotional storm, but no tears were coming. And I thought, oh, like I'm not I'm not doing enough. And I thought that because I needed to cry, that would be the answer to, like, okay, because I'm crying now, it's working. And then on the ninth day, I remember it was nearly the end, and I just thought, oh, I'm just going to keep. I gave one last final surge, and I went back to my room, and I just started to cry. I started to cry and cry, but these weren't tears of. They weren't the tears I was expecting, right? They weren't tears of pain, and they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of, like, almost joy that I had worked so hard, and I had put myself through so much, like, healing, and now I was just crying because I thought, like, okay, I'm crying because I'm allowed to, and I'm crying because this is what healing looks like.
Like Jayden, like you told before that you had done some sort of meditation and then you went to Vipassana meditation. Like what sort of meditation have you done before? Like what sort of preparation did you do while going to Vipassana meditation?
Yeah, so I think I've always been a little bit curious and kind of experimental with meditation, Srishti. I've tried, like, different types of techniques. Like, when I was reading Buddhist books and, like, books from the Dalai Lama, they give really practical kind of meditations, like really simple ones too. But I really started very, very small, Srishti. Like, I started with 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the morning, like, and just simple, like, breath work, and nothing extraordinary, nothing magical, nothing majestical, nothing magnificent. It was just very small, and over time, I just stayed consistent. Like, it was literally just about doing it every day. And I remember I closed my eyes and I stayed as long as I could, cross-legged in my room, and I opened my eyes and the timer said 20 minutes, and I gave myself the biggest fist bump. I'm like, yes, 20 minutes, like, come on. And I look back at those times and I think, wow, like, really, if you just stick to something and you just keep persisting, it will gradually build and build and build. Like, I don't think anyone starts meditating and just can sit down for an hour straight away and not move. Like, that's just not the reality. Um, but I think that's why Vipassana is such a powerful practice, because it's full immersion, right? Like, you are put in an environment where it's 10 days of intense meditation. So it's not like you're prodding and prying and you're, like, not really immersing yourself. Here it's you go deep and you go in straight away, and so you get the effects straight away. It's like if you have two people running, right? You have one person that trains intensely for 10 days all day, and you have one person that trains for 5 minutes a day. At the end of those 10 days, you know who's going to be the better runner, you know who's going to be fitter. It's the same with Vipassana. And so you really get to feel the benefits.
I went to Vipassana because I had an interest in it, and I have listened something about the Vipassana, and I just wanted to experience it, but I didn't have like much of knowledge about it. And like after 5 days, I was sleepless. Like I used to sleep only 1 hour, and I was like troubled, like why I am not getting a sleep. And I used to have some sort of thoughts. And on the 6th day, like I just went to teacher and I asked like why I'm not getting the sleep, and what is happening with my body, did you experience such things, and on which day did you experience?
Yeah. I think all Vipassana meditators at some point experience that, Srishti. Like, because you're bringing up so much stuff, right? Like all the negativities of your mind, all the negative emotions, all the stuff that you don't want to face is coming up, right? And it's leaving. So, yeah, I've had many sleepless nights, Srishti. I've had many nights. I've had many times sitting down and just contemplating my life and thinking about things from the past that I, wish that I didn't do, or things like that. But I think the most beneficial thing about Vipassana is that it teaches you how to live with the daily natural patterns of your body and mind, right? Like it literally just teaches you like how your mind works, how your body works, and it shows you, it brings up all the negative stuff, and so you learn to deal with those things, and it teaches you how to live happily, live properly. um so but yes, Christy, I've had many sleepless nights in Vipassana.
While I was practicing Vipassana meditation till 5 day, I was like, okay. But after 5 day, I didn't know the knowledge, and I was like having a traumatic life. Like I was
Yeah,
not having sleep, and I was thinking too much about like lots of stuff, and that
yeah,
was troubling me. And I just went to teacher, and like they explained me that the things you are thinking like will go away. And I was like on the whole day I was thinking that will this thing like my thinking will affect me or not. But on the evening time there was a disclosure about the meditation technique and the way you are dealing with your thoughts and the way the meditation teaches you. And every questions that I used to think on the morning, on the daytime, the answer was right in the evening. Like did you have such experience? And it was
yeah,
so satisfying answer, like it was so satisfying.
yeah. Yeah, Srishti, the way that uh the course is conducted and the teachings are giving, right, like it's all structured in a way to do exactly that, like to answer your questions. And yeah, I remember exactly on my first course where I was when the first instructions, right, you're given is observe your breath. And so observe your breath, and you think, oh, how hard can it be to observe your breath? And then you observe in your breath, you can't even do it for 10 seconds, woof, and your mind's gone, and you try again and woof, and your mind's gone. And it's just like, wow. And they tell you like this is how the mind works. And not many people in the world have sat down and seen if they can pay attention to their breath, and
Yeah.
to know why. And it tells you why you can't pay attention to your breath, and explains how your mind works. And like, if we can't pay attention to our breath for 2 seconds, how are we supposed to pay attention to the important things in our life? Like, how are we supposed to pay attention to the people we love, or the work that we do, or the complicated things in our life? So I think by practicing these simple things, like learning how to concentrate on your breath, we learn how to concentrate on really important things in life. So,
Like my experience on Vipassana meditation, like on the 6th day I was like set, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the Vipassana meditation properly. Till 5 day I was not set for the Vipassana meditation, I was just learning. But I did like very good on 6th day, 7th day, but on 8th and 9th day I could not focus on meditation, like on the full meditation. And I was again like, what's happening with my body? Like, have you experienced that at the end of the meditation period?
at the like after the course is finished or during the course?
No, on the 8th, 9th, at the end of the meditation.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've definitely been able to not concentrate for times, like because again, so much is coming up, right? Like, and it's your mind. Like, your mind doesn't want to sit down with itself when it's already been through so much, right? It's like I remember, like, for few of the first times, like my mind was saying like, you don't know, you don't want to sit here, you don't want to meditate, no, there's going to be so much pain, no, you don't have to go into the hall, like, you can't do it, oh, you're going to break on this day, like, oh, you're not good enough, like, what are you doing here, like, all these things are like telling me not to meditate and try and take my concentration away. And or other times, right, on the other hand, when the meditation is going really well, your mind starts to say, "Oh, Jayden, you've done all Srishti. You've done so well. You're going to stop now. Just go back to your room. You've meditated for an hour now. Just go back to your room and relax. You deserve it, right?" And
Yeah.
that's what it's about. It's about overcoming the habit pattern of the mind, right? Like overcoming and changing your mind. Like that's the most difficult thing is when you know your mind wants to buck and kick and be like a caged animal and stop you from meditating, but you sit down and overcome that. That's how you change the habit pattern of your mind, and that's how you change your life, right? Like so many great saints and sages of the world have always said, if you want to change your life, you have to change your mind first. And Vipassana gives you a very practical and simple way to change the habit pattern of your mind, because if someone doesn't practice Vipassana and they sit down and experience pain, they get up and leave. But we're taught to change your mind, sit through the pain, observe it, don't react. And so your mind goes from negativity and running away to one of, I can face it. Look, it's not that bad. Ah, okay, like I'm in control of my mind just a little bit, but I'm learning. And I think that's incredibly beneficial in anybody's life, and it's been incredibly beneficial in mine.
Yeah, like while I was like doing the meditation, like I strictly follow the rules that
Mm.
the teacher and the volunteers give to me. And while I strictly follow the rule, like not contacting with anyone, like not looking to anyone, not having eye contact, and I was like focused on the nature, like I was just sitting and like looking at the trees, looking at the sky, and looking on the ground, looking at the lotus, like there was lotus, and like I learned lots of things. Like I didn't know like lotus will bloom on the mid of the day. I didn't knew that, and I knew that there are lots of colors of the green, but I have never noticed the nature like color. Like lots of green color, and I love the green color of different varieties of trees. I love the sounds of the bird, and I was like counting the leaves of the branches because I had nothing to do. Like, did you have such experience?
Yeah, Srishti. That's so amazing that you got to have those kind of like realizations, right? Like, and that's the whole thing. You start to see things as they are, right? Like you
Yeah.
see things more clearly. And yes, I think that's one amazing thing about Vipassana is, especially with nature, there's such a beautiful connection. Like, I remember in the Blue Mountains after a 10-day course, like, because the Blue Mountains, there's so much beautiful nature. Like, you're in the Blue Mountains, right? Like, these amazing trees, and just looking at these trees, and my mind was being blown away by what I could see. Like, I remember looking out into the trees on like the 8th day, and I could not only see all the trees, but I then could see all the roots under it, right? Like I couldn't physically see them, but I could see like a whole nother ecosystem under the trees, like what was actually underneath the trees. Like people just see the surface of the tree, right? But the actual life of the tree is the root of it. And there's a whole ocean of roots under the forest. And I realized that, and I'm like, oh my God, like it was like I was tripping on acid or mushrooms, but I literally was just I was I was so tripping on just seeing things as they are from meditation. And yeah, I do. And going trekking, I remember in Nepal, Srishti, after doing the 10-day course in Kathmandu, I went for a trek through Langtang Valley, and just I think one of the best things you can do after Vipassana is go for a nice walk, because you're sitting down for 10 days, right? You're in so much
Yeah.
a lot of pain, and just to be able to stretch your legs, walk, and you see things completely different. Um, yeah, it's very beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite things.
And during the Vipassana, like I remember on the fourth day, like I had nothing to do, and I was just counting one branch's leaves, and there were like literally 53 leaves, and I thought like, and two were growing, and I
Yeah.
thought like, I think on the 10th day it might be 55, and I was guessing that the two leaves will be grown up, and I can see 55 leaves on the branches. Like it was the first time I have experienced like that internally. And on the 8th day, I went and I just counted the leaves on that branches, and there
Mm,
were just 50 leaves, like three were gone, and I feel lots of pain, like like what's happening. And it was lots of like heat. I think the summer period like took the leaves because it dried. But
mm,
on that 5 days, like three leaves were gone, and I felt so sad. And after in 10 days, and I again went and counted the branches leaves, and like there were 54 leaves. Like again in 2 days, the one leaves came. Like
mm.
it was a miracle for me. Like
Uh,
did you did you have any miracle like that?
Um, life is a miracle, isn't it, Shristi? Life
Yeah,
is a miracle, and like just like what you're saying, like you don't appreciate or even know that these things are happening until you actually pay attention, right?
yeah,
And and it's a kind of a sad thing that for people to have to be able to realize all the miracles that are going around us, like just how nature works, right, is a miracle, like you're saying, like and not we don't go out and look at nature and see nature. Like I've just spent 6 days. I came back yesterday to see 6 days in the Pyrenees Mountains, just walking in nature by myself and just relaxing and enjoying nature and life is a miracle in itself. How nature works is a miracle. Like, have you ever looked at the cloud and think about how clouds move and where they're going and like um but we don't stop and think and we don't stop and smell the roses.
yeah,
I probably tell my sister this too much, but I'm like, stop and smell the roses, and I need to taste my medicine. Like, stop and when was the last time you smelled the flowers, and when was the last time you just simply like watched a tree or listened to the leaves on the tree move? Like these things are all miracles, Srishti.
and you can experience if you go to Vipassana. I think so.
And if you want, if you can't do it by yourself, just you can go to Vipassana and you will be forced to because you have nothing else to do but
Yeah. On the 10th day, like the teacher tells the participant to do meta meditation, like
Mm.
spreading the law. Do you do meta meditation like on a certain basis while you do meditation?
Yeah, I do try to do meditation every day, Shristi. It just fills you with so much love and gratitude. And I really think that has transformed a part of me to become more kind and compassionate, right? Like, if you think about it, like, when you just think of meditation, you're thinking about sharing your kindness, sharing your merit, sharing your love and compassion with other people. And like something that's really helped me is like I lost my mum while I was quite young, so like I've always missed that connection. But doing meditation, I'm able to send her love and send her gratitude, and I feel so connected. I really feel so connected with her. And it's my way of saying I love you to her, and it's my way of saying I love you to my dad. And while I've been traveling, I've been able to send all my friends and family back home, my football club, and my family just love and compassion. Like I'm not there, but I can be there, and it just helps with missing people, and it helps with loving people, and sharing your good merits. And yeah, I think it really has changed my mind and my life. So mm,
It was great talking with you, Jayden. Thank you so much for your time, and hope we will meet soon in Australia. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for giving people the space to express themselves, Swisti, and share their story. You're doing such a great job, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you again.